There's nothing wrong with my collar. See? It's perfect.
This is what happens, see, guys. Just before we go live, I go to Mark, fix your collar, put your tie on. Your collar's weird, your collar's flat. I reckon every woman does that to every man.
What's wrong with the collar?
It's flat. It looks weird.
It's not.
It looks weird. No, it does. It looks weird. Good morning, guys.
I would tell you it's
Welcome to
perfect.
Friday Novak News. This week we're going to be talking about all things that have happened. This week there's been lots going on, actually, hasn't there? Lots going on.
We had AREC at the beginning of the week, the biggest real estate conference in Australia.
Yeah.
We've had every single person asking us, what's the market doing? What's the market doing?
We have.
What's the market doing? What's the market doing?
Yeah.
Everyone's prodding at the moment.
Yes, they are, definitely.
After the election.
Yes, absolutely. There's been a lot of that, and also a lot of stock coming on. I've been listing a lot this week. So it's interesting, is that a sign of the times, or is that just because when the market was quiet a few weeks ago, I was really head down, bum up, I'll be honest. And maybe it's just a combination of that. Interested to know, if you're an agent in the industry, what are you seeing? But what I'm noticing, Mark, is a lot of people they're not using a few words. They're not using the word wait anymore. They're not using the word election anymore. And they're not using the word interest rates anymore. So I want to know, is that because these things have not kicked in yet? Like, do you think we've felt the change of government yet? What do you think?
I think people don't give a shit.
Or are people just generally over it?
I reckon people are like, you know what? I've just heard it all. I've heard about interest rates going up. I heard about the property market going down 40 to 50%. Then it went up 30, 40%. Now it's going down 40%. I had floods. I've had fires.
COVID.
I've had COVID lockdown. I've had this thing called COVID. I've had COVID lockdown, this thing called COVID, different strains. People are going, I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
And that's, I think the sentiment now is like, you can't kill us. Like, you know, the communities, everyone just gets on with it, is what I'm finding.
Yeah, and Luke's right. I mean, you know, there could be an interest rate rise of as much as about 0.5%. That's certainly what people are predicting. And what is that going to do as well to the property market? But, excuse me, guys, sorry, I don't know what's wrong with my voice this morning. But even so, Luke, those interest rates are still at all-time lows. You know, New Zealand, I know, sits at about 4%. If you look right across the globe, we're still extremely low in comparison to those other countries. So, you know, it still makes buying property a very, very viable prospect.
It's a cycle. And I think that there's, you know, the circle of life is, and as much as we try to ignore things are very cyclical, whether you look at the evolution of man or woman, whether you look at the property market, whether you look at a plant, I think everything just goes in and out of that cycle. So as much as we are so clever and are working out exactly what the market's doing or not doing, whether it's a stock market, a Bitcoin or a property market, at the end of the day, the patient people that just weather through it, head down, bring up your families, just get on with it, enjoy experiences.
I agree. I'm just bringing on a property for some lovely buyers who only purchased the property 2 years ago, and they've made a substantial amount of money in just 2 years. This is on a DY apartment.
Yep.
So people forget about the amount of money that they actually make.
Yep.
Everyone's always obviously focused on the amount of money they got to spend.
I always say about the pain. They remember the pain much more than I don't know what you call it, feeling good. Like people feel pain.
Absolutely.
And remember it much more distinctly than feeling good stuff.
100%. You know, don't forget, guys, there's been amazing growth in property right across the board over the last, 6 odd months. So don't forget that. You know, everyone made money, and even though the market's leveled out, which is what it always does, everyone is still up on where they were 12 to 16 months ago. So we're talking about this morning. Good morning to everyone who's tuned in as well. We're talking about
William is asking about the RBA. What do you reckon? Meeting next week.
Yes, there are predictions that interest rates are going up by 0.5%. I would suspect that they're going to go up. I don't know if they're going to go up by as much as 0.5%, but it will be interesting. But again, people don't like change. And then once the change is set in, everyone just sort of grabs the change and runs with it and gets used to it. That's the truth. Look at the pandemic, Mark.
You know what? Whenever you do
talk about change, we got used to that as well.
It's a cycle. When you're up, then you're down, then you're up, then you're down. And I think people can't forget that, even with interest rates and stuff like that, we are historically, there's more money that's been stuffed into the back pocket of Australians over the last year or two than for a very, very long time. So I think it's the government. The government now is putting their hand back out, saying, okay, we it's been going one way for so long, now it's got to go the other way. Again, it's just that cycle. So people are freaking out of interest rates, but it's been calculated. If you're good with money, you should be able to manage it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think
if you're not, it's going to bite you on the bum. But what's changed?
But it's important to also break it down. We had a really good graph. We might pop it up again, actually, about breaking down. I know, God, what's happened to me? What has happened to me?
Just asked for a graph. You've changed.
I used to hate graphs.
Wow.
But we might put it up because it actually does break down exactly what those interest rate rises mean in dollars and cents.
Yeah.
Because if you're like me and you're not great with numbers, I'm clearly okay with words, just not numbers, then, it makes it a lot easier when it's actually just broken down and pointed out. To people, you know. So I think that definitely does help. Let's talk about ARIC, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about ARIC.
4,300 real estate agents in one room. Very interesting.
Yeah.
We puffed our chests out, walked through rooms.
No, we didn't.
No,
it's a great experience. So,
you know what? A bunch of lovely people.
Absolutely. I'll tell you something about the real estate industry is people love a function. Real estate people love a function and love a conference.
People love to congregate in general.
And chat and talk to one another. And yes, we're a competitive bunch. There's no doubt about it. But you put us all in a room together and I tell you what, there will be no shortage of conversation.
No,
but there was
alcohol.
This is true. But there was a common theme there besides the lots of guys wearing no socks. There was another common theme, and that was people talking about what was going on with the market. And it was pretty unanimous that the market has softened in most areas of the country. Real estate agents from WA and Adelaide, please don't get angry at me again on my social media because I know you guys are still booming there. But most areas have certainly cooled off. There's no doubt about it.
Yep.
Some UK agents as well. New Zealand agents were there.
Yep.
But lots of phenomenal people getting up on stage. We had the guy who was part of that Thailand rescue for the children. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah, that was the best. That's probably one of the best talks I've ever watched.
Yeah.
So he was the anaesthetist and tunnel diver in Thailand, saving the 14 kids that were trapped for 12 days. And he told the story from beginning to end with humour.
Yeah.
What a storyteller. You can't tell that with humour. He had the greatest sense of humour, but empathy, and it was an incredible guy.
Absolutely incredible.
And what they did, I think he said the movie's coming on Netflix.
Yes, yeah, they've just made a movie on it. So that, for those of you guys that don't remember, no, it's not. It's actually bothering me. It's really interfering.
There you go.
Really
I'll do the top one up for you.
Thank you. So for those of you guys that don't remember, it was the Thailand young kids. They were part of a Thai soccer team, and the coach decided that he should walk them into a cage, and just for a bit of exploration, and then they got stuck. Cave. Sorry, did I say cage?
Yeah.
Into a cave, and the water levels rose very, very quickly. I think they'd had like a monsoon or something, or a monsoon season had come earlier. And then they got stuck, and they were stuck in there for 12 days. And he was a huge part of this rescue. He happened to be a professional cave diver and an anaesthetist.
6 kilometres long.
Incredible.
Cave with all underwater. Most parts were only 1.5, 2 meters long.
Yeah.
And full of water,
incredible.
and murky brown water.
Yes, it was incredible. But big audience, 4,200 real estate agents. I think lots of it was online as well.
What's your takeaway from the day?
Look, we were only there for the day. So the conference actually went for a couple of days. Mark and I flew in for the day. We just had a really busy week. It always just comes down to me to just really look after people. I think that's the most important thing. And I was wondering initially why they had that. I can't remember the doctor's name. We'll find it and put it in here. But why they had that guy talking at a real estate conference. But look, at the end of the day, it's just about being a really, really good human being.
Yep.
And looking after people.
Yep. What's
yours?
I reckon my takeaway, which is weird because it wasn't a real estate one, was, when that guy was talking about the anaesthetist that saved all those people, one of the things he was saying was there was the Navy SEAL divers for the Thai government.
Yes.
And he said there was these 3 guys from the UK which had like car tubes on the back of their backs and all different coloured like they looked like they were something out of Disneyland.
Yeah.
They were the weird. So the Navy SEAL divers looked like these stealth bombers. They looked incredible. They were dressed top to toe, and these 3 guys from the UK looked like they were something out of Disneyland. And the government had to choose. Like it was pretty much going to be a case where it was almost 100% that the kids weren't going to make it through.
Yeah.
But the government had to make the decision to use the 3 guys that were experienced in diving caves for their whole life, as opposed to the Navy SEAL who were highly trained but hadn't been doing it their whole life.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they lost one of the Navy SEALs while he was going in and out of the without one of the kids. He passed away, unfortunately. But what I thought was interesting was the craft of someone doing something that they're just so passionate about.
Absolutely.
And they love
don't care
so
about
much.
how they look or
they'll if it's life threatening, they don't care. They're just doing it. They're making these concoctions to make themselves more efficient. I saw beauty in that.
Yeah, I think that's amazing.
I thought that was, here's a bunch of guys, their wives, their families, their kids are all letting them do what they want to do.
Yeah.
They're doing a crazy thing. And
you know what?
Good at it.
Maybe if that was in any other country, he wouldn't have even been allowed to do what he was, what he'd set out to do. Can you imagine if he'd rocked up like that, Mark, in the UK or in America? They would have just gone, who's this monkey?
Yeah.
Whereas in Thailand, I feel like they're so much more forgiving there.
Yeah, and they're more compliant, maybe.
Yes, the compliance as well, the compliance. But just on that.
That was a big takeaway.
I agree.
I saw a lot of beauty in 3 guys doing what they loved their whole life, diving caves and getting really good at it. And there was camaraderie, which is fantastic.
I agree with that for sure. But, there was I heard Tom Panos talking yesterday on a segment with goodness me, it's just slipped my mind. With real estate business. Sorry, with real estate business. And they were talking about what a well-bunched group of real estate agents they were at ARIC.
Really?
And it's interesting, isn't it? And then they got into talking about, how should you dress as a real estate agent? Is it okay to not wear socks?
Yeah.
Is it okay to, should you suit up? Should you wear a tie? All these sorts of things. It was really quite an interesting conversation and, how one should dress. I think that's a conversation for another day, but I'm a big advocate of always dressing rather overdressed than underdressed. No one's ever going to say anything, right?
Yeah, and make sure your collars don't stand up when you get in trouble from your wife. Guys, that's a show. Have a great day today. Anything else, lovely Lisa, you want to talk about this week before we go?
Just being honest with vendors. That's really important. I've actually let a couple of listings go this week because vendors had expectations that their prices were still where they were in November or December.
Yeah.
So I actually did not take on a listing this week because that vendor just wanted way too much for his property.
Interesting.
And I said, just wait, rent the property out and just wait.
Yep. It'll come back.
Absolutely it will.
The market will come back strong, but it just takes time.
Yeah, but just being, a good, honest agent, not signing up properties just for the sake of signing them up.
Yeah.
just making sure that they actually are priced appropriately for this market. So having good, honest conversations with vendors, it's really, really important. You're just going to end up wasting everyone's time.
Have a lovely day, everyone.
See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.